Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students of level 7. So, my dear Falconians, today we are going to discuss review questions of chapter number 5 solutions, as we already completed this chapter in our previous sessions. So, my dear students, let's move towards the review questions which are given on page number 120 in your books. Here is the first review question of your chapter, that is, Ali adds sugar to some water until the sugar cannot dissolve anymore. Means here we are talking about a saturated solution. Remember, we told you that when the capacity of a solution is ended to dissolve any more solute, so we called it saturated solution. So here we are talking about saturated solution, that Ali adds sugar to some water until the sugar cannot dissolve anymore. It means that the solution should be saturated. So now they are asking, what does this tell you about the solubility of sugar in water? What you are going to tell us? That what is the solubility of sugar in water right now in this condition? Second, can Ali make more sugar dissolve in the water by stirring the solution? Do you think that by just simply stirring in the solution, Ali can dissolve more sugar in it? Do you really think it? If yes, then explain your answer. If no, then explain your answer. And the next part is, suggest one way in which Ali can make more sugar dissolve in the same amount of water. Now you are going to tell us the way how we are going to increase the solubility of water for that particular quantity of sugar. So if Ali wants to add some more sugar in the saturated solution of water, what technique or what method should Ali going to apply? So in this way he can dissolve more sugar in the same amount of water. This is what you are going to tell us in this question. Now let's move towards the next question. Here is question number 2 of your review questions. The solubility of common salt in water is 36 grams per 100 gram of water at 20 degrees Celsius. This is the situation that when we are going to dissolve common salt in water, so the quantity of water should be 100 grams and the quantity of common salt should be 36 grams and the temperature should be 20. So it's an ideal condition, and this quantity of salt, means 36 grams, can easily dissolve in 100 grams of water at normal 20 degree temperature, right? Now the questions are, question number A, if 30 gram of common salt dissolve in 100 grams of water, what is the mass of the salt solution form? What you are going to do for this question? They are saying that if 30 grams of common salt is going to dissolve in 100 grams of water, what will be the mass of total solution? We are going to simply add this 30 grams plus 100 grams. It will become here you can see it will become 130 grams. So it's just simply an addition. Now let's move towards the next part of this question. They are asking, what is the maximum mass of common salt which will dissolve in 20 grams of water at 20 degrees Celsius? They are asking you, according to the above statement, that as we all know that the solubility of common salt is 36 grams per 100 grams of water, right? Now they are asking how much maximum mass of common salt can dissolve in 20 grams of water at the same 20 degrees Celsius temperature. So what we are going to do, as we already done in our physical class, the binary method, the unitary and the binary method for finding out if some particular quantity is dissolving in a particular quantity, so the another quantity will dissolve how. So here you can see that if 100 grams dissolve in 36 grams, so 20 grams will dissolve. How we are going to calculate? 20 grams will going to multiply by 36 grams and divided by 100 grams. This is what I already explained in the physical class, and this is the method which you already learned in your math subject. So in this way you can easily find out the quantity of salt which going to dissolve in 20 grams of water. How? It's very simple. If 100 grams dissolves 36 grams of salt, so 20 grams will dissolve 20 multiplied by 36 divided by 100. Here you can see 20 multiplied by 36 divided by 100. So you will get the answer 7.2 grams. So it means that 7.2 grams of salt can easily dissolve in 20 grams of water at 20 degrees Celsius. Now let's move towards part C. If 50 gram of common salt is added to 150 gram of water at 20 degrees Celsius, so how many grams of common salt will remain undissolved? Now here they are increasing both of the quantities. They are increasing the quantity of common salt as well as they are increasing the quantity of water, but they are not increasing the temperature. So if 36 grams is dissolving in 100 grams, so what will happen to the 50 grams when the water quantity is also increases, that is 150 gram. Again you are going to apply the same method which we did previously in the part B, and you can easily find out the answer that whether the salt is going to remain or no salt will going to remain. In part D, you are going to do what? They are asking what kind of solution is formed when 18 grams of common salt dissolves in 50 grams of water at 20 degrees Celsius. Here is again simple calculation that they are decreasing the quantity of water as well as they are decreasing the quantity of common salt, but they are not decreasing the quantity of temperature. So you can easily find out by the same method which we are applying in part B. You can easily find out that whether it will be a saturated solution or unsaturated solution or supersaturated solution, right? Now in part E, what you are going to do, common salt can dissolve in water but not in alcohol. Here we are going to discuss about the nature of solute, because all we know that common salt is a solute and water is a solvent. So we already learned about the nature of solute and nature of solvent. If the solute is not matches, nature of solute is not matches with the nature of solvent, so they cannot dissolve in each other or they cannot mix or make a homogeneous mixture with each other. So here you are going to explain with that reference when common salt can dissolve in water but not in alcohol, so what does this tells us about the solubility of a substance? Here this tells us about the nature of solute and nature of solvent. So under the heading of that nature of solute or nature of solvent, or with the help of the explanation of nature of solute and with the help of the reference of nature of solute and nature of solvent, you can easily explain this question. So let's move towards the next question. Here is another very easy question in front of us, that is question number 5 of your review questions. In this you are going to complete these general word equations simply. In this equation they are saying that when dilute acid is react with what? Salt and hydrogen is formed. In the previous topic, we already discussed that whenever acids reacts with metals, they always form salt and hydrogen. So here what we are going to write in this equation, this dilute acid will going to react with what? Remember, it should be metal. In part 2 they are saying that dash is going to react with carbonate, so salt, water and carbon dioxide is formed. Again the same question. Here we already discussed in the properties of acid, in the reaction chemical properties of acid, that whenever acid is going to react with the carbonate, it always release carbon dioxide, it always form water and it always form salt. Again in part C they are saying that acid plus alkali, what will form? We already discussed in the chemical properties of acids as well as in the chemical properties of bases also, that whenever acids and alkalis react, this reaction is considered as neutralization reaction and the product is always salt and water. So you can easily solve this question as well. Now let's move towards the next question. That is question number 7. This is also just a simply explanatory question, right? You have to explain these statements, what or these parts, what they are asking in this. According to this statement which is mentioned over here, that some dilute hydrochloric acid is gradually added to half a beaker of aqueous sodium hydroxide until the pH of the mixture changes to 7. Up now, here you have to remember that when they are saying dilute hydrochloric acid, it means they are talking about acid, and when they are saying aqueous sodium hydroxide, it means they are talking about an alkali. So whenever acid reacts with alkali, the reaction is always called neutralization reaction because the product is always salt and water. So they are saying that when acid is gradually added into an alkali, what will happen? The pH of the mixture changes to 7. And what this 7 digit tells us about the pH, that it means the pH become neutral, because 7 pH is always neutral. When we move before 7 means 7 to 1, we said that the pH is acidic, and when we move after 7 means 7 to 14, we said that pH is basic. Now simply they are saying that what can you use to find out if the pH of the mixture has changed to 7. Again we are going to talk about the previous explanation in the physical classes we have done, that this is going to learn by using indicator. So if we are going to add the indicator in this solution where we are trying to find out that whether the pH becomes 7 or not, means whether the pH become neutral or not, so we can easily find out our answer by using an indicator. In part B they are saying that is the mixture acidic, alkaline or neutral when the pH is 7. Now here you are going to tell us that when we are saying the pH is 7 of any particular solution, so will it be called acidic, will it be called alkaline, or will it be called neutral? In part C, what are the products formed when dilute hydrochloric acid is mixed with sodium hydroxide solution? Now again they are talking about an acid and a alkali. Dilute hydrochloric acid is added to sodium hydroxide solution, means acid is going to mixed with the alkali. So are the products formed? What will be the products formed? And the products which are formed will be an element or a compound. The product must be salt and water. So what do you think? Salt and water are elements or are compounds? First of all, you are going to tell us what will be the products, and then you are going to tell us that whether these products are elements or compounds. What do you think, people? Okay, let's move towards part D. What will happen to the pH of the mixture if more dilute hydrochloric acid is added? Now here the question is technical. They are saying that when we are making the solution in this part C, we are going to add more and more hydrochloric acid after the reaction completed. After this pH 7 is reached, we are continuously going to add this acid more and more in this solution. So what will happen? The solution become acidic because we are adding more and more acid now, or what do you think? The solution will remain neutral? Think on it and give the explanation. So here are 4 questions which you have to do from this review questions that is given on page number 120 in your book. I hope that this video will be helpful for you to solve these 4 questions in your science journals. So see you guys in the next class. Take care.